Hey guys, this is Nikki with FM99, and I am here with the fabulous Taylor Momsen of the Pretty Reckless. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing very well. How are you?
Doing awesome. It's so good to see you again.
You too. You look fabulous. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm happy the world is starting to get back to normal. It makes me
I know. Makes my heart warm. Like finally, like it's not entirely there yet, but like we're getting towards the right track.
Yes,
I think
every baby step is a step in the right direction.
Yes, baby steps is like how I live my life at this point. So yeah.
I think that's all of us right now. Truly, yeah, I agree. So I got to tell you, your album, Death by Rock and Roll, I am a huge, huge fan, first of all.
Thank you.
I have been listening to it incessantly. And I had some questions for you about the album itself. First of all, it's been getting a ton of positive press and feedback and reviews. And
I know it's sorry, I didn't know if you were finished.
You like
on like these Zoom things, like you can't really talk over each other, so like I wait.
Yeah.
No, it's been insane. Like the fact that the record came out is like blowing my mind. The fact that it's out and people can actually listen to it now is insane, and like the response has just been so overwhelmingly positive, and like that's such like that warms my heart so like it's so amazing to see that and feel that and hear that. And it's still very bizarre that we can't play it live, obviously, yet. Fingers crossed that is gonna, live shows will come to fruition sooner than later. But up until then, like just seeing the online reaction and stuff has just been honestly mind-blowing. Like it's been, we have the best fans. Like they stick with us through everything and they're always there. And it's just that's such a nice support system to have. Like it's insane. So I'm really grateful and I'm really thankful. And because this record's so important to me, like Death by Rock and Roll means the world to me, and like to put it out, and anytime you put out an album, you never know what to expect or what, like I try to not think that way. Not even try. I really don't. And so you never really know what to think. And then suddenly it's out and you're like, what's everyone going to say? And apparently people are seeming to really connect to it. Like they're connecting to it and they're really delving into it and really enjoying it. And that just makes me so happy, because that's all you can ask from music, is hopefully it connects to the audience and the listener. And yeah, so I'm just so grateful and so thankful, and we love you guys.
So I got to tell you, the sound of this album, like you especially, is, in my opinion, quite different than before. And, I don't know if it's it's almost like you have nothing to prove anymore. You have come into your own and you're like, this is me, and you're either going to like it or you aren't. Why is that? Is that kind of what I'm hearing, or?
I mean, yes and no. I think I've always kind of had that attitude, since I formed the band, like back in 2008 at this point. Geez, time flies. My attitude's always kind of been my way, or like, if you don't like it, there's something else for you. That's fine. Like, that's cool. Like, I'm good with that. But I make music for myself, and I think that this record, we went through a lot of loss and a lot of pain and a lot of loss in the Pretty Reckless family and the Pretty Reckless world, kind of like what I kind of calling like 1-2 punches.
Right.
And that it definitely took me down there for a while, and it took a lot for me to kind of rebuild. And as cliche as it may sound, it was, to make a very, very long story short, it was legitimately music that saved my life. It was the thing that like brought me back to me, to me being able to find like writing music and like finally picking up a guitar and putting pen to paper and like writing everything that I'd been kind of repressing and holding inside, and like letting that out was just it was the start of a very emotional roller coaster, but like the thing that I really needed to do for myself to heal myself and to continue living. And I'm really glad that I, made that decision to move forward, because it could have very easily gone in the opposite direction. And,
Sure.
That wouldn't have been good for anyone.
No, definitely not. No, and that comes through, that passion and pain, really. I mean, you can hear it, you can feel it.
Thank you. I mean, I think that's kind of what I was trying to get at without saying it, is I think that there's something so raw and like specifically with, I mean, it's all the songs, it's all the lyrics, it's, it's everything about the album, but specifically like the vocal performance. There's something so raw about it and so honest that I was living that. I was living that pain. I was living in it, and I couldn't escape it. And so there was no hiding from it, and there was no fabricating it, and there's no fixing it. There's nothing to do other than embrace it, I guess.
Right.
And I think that that's something that really shows a lot of growth on this album. Also that, and the fact that I'm older, just physically, like I'm now 27, and when we first formed the band, I was only 14, 15. So it's, so there's definitely a maturity that has come along with just the simplicity of age and getting older. But like also when you go through a lot of traumatic experiences, I think that it ages you in some way, whether you want it to or not. That's what life is. So, and I think that that's something that I couldn't escape while performing the songs in the studio. Like there were certainly some songs that were definitely harder for me to perform than others, and like I had to kind of take a step back and be like, today's not the day for that one. Let's try it again tomorrow.
I can imagine. Yeah, definitely. Your song "Rock and Roll Heaven" rocked me. I used to steal my parents' vinyls too, and
it's the only way to go.
It is. And so like when I first listened to the song, I was like, I feel this on such a deep level.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. My favorite thing now, like, because we can't tour, my favorite thing is I didn't know this was a thing before, because I'm very like technologically challenged and I don't really look at the internet very often and all that. But I've just now discovered for the first time like reaction videos. Like when people hear your music for the first time and they push play and like videotape themselves, like apparently that's a thing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like it's so interesting to me to see someone's reaction to something that, I spent years or months or however long working on, and see their, point of view, in a very honest response for the first time. And it's become my new like obsession, and like in a mild way. Like I don't go like down the rabbit hole, but like I've seen a couple and it just puts a giant smile on my face, because in lieu of being able to, feel that kind of response and that, the energy from the crowd, like in real time and in person, getting to see it online is in real time is, is still equally fun, and has been tiding me over until we can finally get in front of an actual audience.
I love that and look forward to it. We've got a question. What would you tell 2009 Taylor to look out for when starting a career in music?
Look out for. I don't know. Honestly, I really don't. I've always been bad at taking advice, and I've always been bad at giving advice. I kind of try to, hopefully learn from my mistakes, but I kind of am one of those people that kind of likes to, I'm trying to think of a non profanity word, F up, and and then learn from it. Hopefully. So 2000, I think I would probably just tell myself that you're going to go through a lot of crap that you were not expecting, and it's going to hit you very hard at some point. And you're not going to know how to handle it, but trust your gut, trust your instincts. Music is the right path for you. That is the thing that's going to save your life at the end of the day. And just believe in that, like, trust yourself. And I think that's the only advice I would tell myself, forever ago. And I still tell myself that, like, every day. So it's, but I fully, firmly believe that that is true. Like, if you trust in yourself and you trust in your instincts and your gut, that, you're going to get to a place that, it might not be the place that you saw or envisioned when you were like a child, but you're going to get to a place where what you're doing is legitimately making you happy in a way that is unlike anything else. And that's a blessing. So
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice to give 2009 Taylor, I think.
Sure. Right? I just be like, hey, 2009 Taylor, you might, everyone thinks you're insane right now because everyone thought I was crazy in 2009. But 2009 Taylor, you're doing the right thing. Stick with it.
That's right. Absolutely. Agreed. So question about the album, and forgive me if I'm forgetting something I should already know. Was this recorded during quarantine or prior to?
Oh no, prior to.
Prior to. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I knew we had the first single released last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was like a delay, right, for when you actually released the album.
Yeah, well, it was we finished the album basically right before quarantine. We were actually in New York back in, was it March of 2020? We were in New York shooting the album cover and the single cover for Death by Rock and Roll, and all of that, like doing the the visual side of it, not the music videos yet, but the album packaging. And shortly, and right after we finished that, I came back up to New England because that's where we have our rehearsal space, and we were starting to rehearse to go on tour. We had this like amazing tours planned. I mean, from the Foo Fighters to Pearl Jam to all the festivals, Gary Clark Jr., Guns N' Roses. Like, it was looking like it was gonna be a really awesome year, like 2020. And as soon as I got back up to, I live in Maine, but New England, and we started to rehearse, that's when, lockdown started and quarantine started. And so I kind of got stuck up here. And I've been here essentially ever since, except for the one little brief trip we took to New York for a week where we shot 3 music videos back to back, which was just,
oh my gosh.
It was insanity on so many levels, but awesome, and like and very refreshing and very reviving, I guess, in a lot of ways. Like, it was something that like we needed to do, I needed to do, like I need to get out of the house. And we took every safety protocol possible. It was very terrifying to me in a lot of ways because I'm a hypochondriac. It's kind of my worst nightmare. Like,
Yeah.
Like pre-COVID, I flew with masks and rubber gloves, and I'm not a big fan of shaking hands. Nothing personal, but I always do the elbow bump or the fist bump or whatever.
Yeah.
Just because I think it kind of stems from being a singer and being on tour, because if you get sick on tour, especially as a singer, you don't ever recover. Like, even if you get better, you're never 100% again. And that sucks. And so, so I do everything, I have Purell in all my pockets. And even when I didn't wear pants, I had it stuck in my garters or whatever. I was one of those weirdos. So this was kind of my worst nightmare. So filming videos in COVID was like a whole thing. But I'm really proud with how they turned out. And, we put our all into them. And And yeah, and they're out. It's 25 is out, and So It Went is out, and there's a third one coming, which I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say what it is yet, but it might be my favorite one.
Okay, fair enough. I look forward to figuring out which one that is. Speaking of And So It Went, Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine is with you. How did that happen?
Well, I love Tom. I mean, first of all, I love Rage, obviously. I'm a huge Audioslave fan. I'm a huge I'm a huge Tom Morello fan all around. I love guitar players. I always say this. I love guitar players, not just guitar players, but musicians, but specifically guitar players, like who really have just a unique and distinct voice, like with their instrument, where when they play it sounds like a human voice in a way where it's not you're not just hearing someone that practiced a lot of scales and can play really fast. You're actually like hearing someone emote something, and I feel like Tom always does that, and he essentially reinvented the guitar in one aspect, and I've always appreciated his playing. And so when And So It Went, the song came about. Actually, I'm going a little too far forward. First, Tom and I met kind of briefly many times, like throughout the years at festivals, and like as musicians do while touring. And we were kind of friends or whatever, but we really kind of reconnected at the Chris Cornell I Am the Highway tribute show in Los Angeles in 2019. Because we were both playing with Soundgarden on the song Loud Love. And so that's really where we kind of like rebonded or reformed our friendship, or whatever you want to call it. And shortly after that show, we were starting to record the new record, and I had written the song And So It Went. And just, I tend to not actually be a fan of not a fan, but like I tend, like, I feel like collaborations, especially in today's modern paradigm of music, can be very overdone and kind of created from like a label or like a marketing standpoint instead of like an actual like artistic expression. And that's never something that I am interested in being a part of. And so but for And So It Went, when I finished writing the song, I just lyrically and melodically and musically and energetically, like all of those components kind of came together, and it just made so much musical sense to me that Tom be a part of it. I was like, Tom would kill this. Like this, he would take this song, and if he plays a solo on this, he's going to elevate it to its full potential. And so I sent him a demo of it. I called him up and sent him a really rough demo and was like, hey man, will we take a listen to this and see if you would want to lend your amazing voice and magic to this? And he thankfully said yes. And when he sent his tracks back, it when we put it all together, it did exactly what I thought it was going to do. Like, if you don't already have the song on 10 when he comes in, you're certainly turning up your radio. So thank you, Tom. I owe you one, man.
Love it. One of my favorite songs on the album is Witches Burn.
Thank you.
I can listen to that one on 10 from the start. Broomsticks, which leads into Witches Burn. So talk to me about that. How did that it's fun. I love it. It's kind of whimsical. I go to Salem, Massachusetts every year. I'm a New Englander myself. So, kind of resonated a little bit with me, but I'm curious as to where it came
from. Well, now you're going to have to re-ask me the question, because where are you from in New England?
I grew up in Mystic, Connecticut.
Okay. I know that very well. I love Connecticut.
I do too. It's a great little area, and I miss it very much.
Oh, well, hopefully, when the pandemic ends, you can revisit. Wait, so what was your question? Broomsticks.
Yes.
So Broomsticks, I think that I'm a huge fan of Halloween.
Me too.
I always have been. It's one of, like, I don't know if I necessarily consider it a holiday, but it's a time period that comes around once a year that I very much enjoy.
Have you gone to Salem in October?
No,
You should.
I'm going to. Hey, you know, witches burn. We got another October coming up, so things might be percolating.
Absolutely.
So Broomsticks, I mean, I've always been a fan of I don't like to call it an interlude, but essentially that's what it is. It's something that I feel like I learned from the Beatles. Like, you know, they kind of did that a lot, where there's these kind of small songs that lead into the grander song, and Broomsticks is essentially, you know, the interlude or the introduction to, or the prelude or whatever you want to call it, to Witches Burn. And it's this kind of whimsical, weird, kind of actually complex musical piece that to me stood alone. Like we debated putting it at the front of Witches Burn and just having it be called Witches Burn, but I was like, no, this is its own piece of music and it deserves its own title.
Definitely.
And yes, it needs to be in front of it because they do coincide with each other, but it needed its own title. So
yeah,
I went with Broomsticks, and it's just a small little piece of music that I'm very proud of, and something fun for Halloween, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like it came on and I was like, oh, what is this? Like it was just, you know, unexpected and fun, just kind of in the middle, you know, there leading into Witches Burn, like I said, which I just love.
Thank you. Witches Burn is I don't even know what to say about Witches Burn, honestly. You know, at the end of the day, it's just a story. I mean, that's what songs are. Like, they're just stories at the end of the day. It's not literal per se, but I think, you know, it certainly deals with talking about being a woman or a witch, you know, whatever you want to like, and just kind of, you know, the trials and persecution that I think everyone, not just women, but I think everyone goes through in life at some point. And especially in today's culture, it seems like I don't want to get all like political and crap here, but like, you know, but it feels like no matter what you do or what you're going through, whatever, like at some point you're going to be persecuted and you're going to burn. Like, and so that's kind of where that song stemmed from. And really the end point of it is, you know, kind of, I think what the whole record is saying in one way is, you know, live life the way you want and accept the price that you're going to pay, because everyone's going to pay a price. You're going to pay a price for your life. I'm going to pay a price for mine. And just as long as you're living your life to the fullest of your ability and how you want to, know that that's going to come with something, but you know, be willing and accepting of that. And as long as you know that ahead of time, then you're all good.
Definitely. I love it. So one last question. I know we're getting short on time, but out of all of the songs on this album, which is the one you are most excited to play live when you can be in front of people again?
It's impossible. It's such an impossible question. I mean, I guess just off the top of my head, Death by Rock and Roll would be the first song, just because it's the title track, it's the first song we put out, it's the first song on the record. We did our like acoustic version, which, you know, was fun, but it's not the same. Like I miss electricity. Like I really want to get on stage and like, you know, feel that and feel that power and that riff in full force. And I think that would be a lot of fun to play live. Also, Only Love Can Save Me Now is one that I love singing in any variation, honestly, like acoustically or plugged in. So that's something that I'm looking forward to playing live. Rock and Roll Heaven. I don't. The answer is Turning Gold, Witches Burn. The answer is all of them. So the whole album, and our whole previous catalog, because I miss playing the old songs too. Like I really do. Like I love, like some of my favorite live songs are songs that we play off of the first record, off of Light Me Up. Like every time we play Make Me Wanna Die, like that just brings a smile to my face. Like it's a fun experience. It brings me back to that time period, which was just so joyful. And so, you know, every record kind of has its it's like its own little time capsule. And so anytime you play a song off that record, it mentally brings me back to that space. And I think that that's one of the things that's so cool about music. And so the answer is all the songs.
Yeah.
All of them.
I love it. And I think we would all be happy to sit there and listen to all of them.
Well, I mean, it might be like a 10-hour concert at that point. It's like it's the reverse problem that we had before when we first started touring. You know, back in, you know, when we were a brand new little baby band, and our first record had barely just come out. Right. We were opening for Guns N' Roses, and which was incredible.
Yeah.
But they were like, we need you to play longer. And we were like, well, we're already playing every song off our album, and we're already playing 3 covers. If we play any more than 3 covers, like at that point, we're a cover band, which is not ever my intention. As much as I love other people's music and I appreciate it, and I like singing, you know, other people's songs, that's not what I want to do for a living. I like writing my own music. So we essentially just like extended the guitar solos and like just like extended every song and made it like a little bit longer to try to fill out the time slot, because we didn't have enough material. And now the cool thing is, coming out now or whenever we can actually be on the road again, is we're going to have the reverse problem of we're not going to know what to cut and what to play. And I think that's going to be a fun problem to have. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. One more question. Let's see. Will the song Follow Me Down still be the opening track for live shows?
Good question. Probably not. I think that we have, you know, kind of moved on from that era. Not to say that we won't play Follow Me Down, because that's still one of my favorite songs to play live. But probably won't be the intro. Not to say never again, though. Like, I've learned, especially in quarantine and all this, I've learned never say never to anything, because who knows? But probably not. I think we got some cooler things up our sleeves.
Yeah, you guys definitely have a lot of cool things to choose from. It has been amazing. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. So excited to be able to see you live again and to see you play this album live. I know I'm speaking for everybody. I know that I am. So
I'm dying. Like, I'm dying to play it live. It's slowly killing me. It's like, I feel like I'm being poisoned slowly at this point. Like, as much as I love acoustic, like my joke has become, as much as I love acoustic guitars, which I really do. Like, I'm surrounded, you can't see it right now because I'm in like a sea of black, but I'm surrounded by acoustic guitars, and they're all in different tunings. And that's how I write everything. Like, everything starts on an acoustic, but once you plug in, it's hard to go backwards. And at this point, my joke has become, I'm really, really, really missing electricity. Like, I love playing these songs acoustically. I wrote them on acoustic guitar, love the songs, all that. But like, man, I miss Jamie smashing his drums, and, you know, Mark and Ben cranked to 10, me cranked to 10, and screaming into a microphone for real. Like, that energy that you can't get sitting at home playing by yourself. Like, you can't feel that without electricity. So, you know,
all of us feel it. You know, it's like you feel it in your soul.
You feel it in your soul, and it becomes this like you know, especially like live shows, they become this thing that I think I used to almost take for granted, and I will never do that again. Like, really, because there's something so magical that happens where there's this kind of symbiotic relationship between, you know, us on stage and the fans, and it becomes this kind of whole one unit. I'm doing this badly, but you understand what I'm saying. It becomes this experience where like we're all in it together, and that's like, and I miss that so much, and I miss playing with the guys. So like, my hope is, like, what I'm looking forward to is just the 4 of us being able to get back into the rehearsal space. Like, just start there. And then we'll add the fans. Like, we miss you guys equally as much, but like, you know, if the 4 of us don't practice, then we're just going to suck, and we'll put on
I don't know about that. But you know, can you imagine?
Or the 4 of us getting in a room, cranking amps, and like, we'll start there. And that's what I'm hoping will happen in the next, you know, at least like month, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, can you imagine that first show back? Not even just like for you guys, for the fans, like it's going to be one of those things that, do you remember when? I feel
Mhm.
like nobody will forget that first live show again.
1,000%. I feel like everyone, my other bad joke, but I feel like every musician wishes they could be a comedian, and I have a lot of comedian friends, and they all wish they could be musicians. So I think it goes kind of hand in hand. I wish I could be a stand-up. I'm not.
Yeah.
But my other bad joke that I've been saying in press and stuff is, when live shows do come back, right now it's like tantric sex. Like
Right.
we've been waiting and waiting, and everyone's like, dying for it. And so when it does come back, it's just gonna explode, and
Oh, yeah.
it's gonna be phenomenal. And I can't wait for that day.
Me too. It's going to be freaking magic for everybody involved.
Yeah, everyone, like
Yeah.
every single person.
Well, I can't wait until that happens. And I cannot wait to be able to talk to you face to face, like actually in the same room.
I know. For that day too. Like, I'm so done with the computer thing. Like, in one way it's easy because it's like I got the setup, you did the same
Yeah.
thing, whatever, but it's there.
Yeah.
But it's not the same. You don't get the same connection. But at least I can see you, and you look gorgeous, and I can hear you, and I can see you, and I we're very blessed that we live in the time of technology, I guess, because can you imagine if we were going through this without any of this? Like, we would all, like, we've all lost our minds at some point during this pandemic. Like, everyone's had a breakdown. I know I have. So like, and I thought I was handling it pretty well too, but everyone's had like a moment for sure. So I think that as soon as we can all like be together in person, I think we're just going to appreciate each other so much more. And I think that just as like a human race, I hope at least that we're going to have grown so much from this experience and really come out of this on a brighter and better side than where we started. Not stay in the same spot, but like literally be moved forward into a brighter future. That's my hope.
Definitely. I wish that everybody in the world could hear that, because truly that would have made this whole thing worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think that that's genuinely, I think that's what will happen. I mean, knock on wood.
Yes, I know. I'm with you.
As I say that, but yeah, knock on wood. But I do think that people are, missing human contact in such a huge way that when we can actually have that, and like now that the vaccines are starting to, be a little bit more accessible, and we're moving in the right direction. That's what I'm saying. And eventually we'll actually be able to hug again, and it'll be great.
That would be amazing. Yes, I look forward to it. Until we can see you live again, stay safe, and thanks again for taking the time to chat with me.
Of course, love you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. We'll see you soon.
Later.
Bye.